Alright, let's briefly go over how to insert custom portraits and custom battle animations into a Fire Emblem game. So, if you're going to insert a custom portrait, it has to be formatted just right, or the FE editor is not going to be able to accept it. So, I use a ping image, and it has to be 128 by 112 pixels. Yeah, I told you we're getting really specific here. And let's open up the portrait here. You have to have the exact right number of colors, that is 16 for one palette, and one of those is going to be transparent, in my case the orange. So when you're making your image, be sure that you keep track of your colors and don't use more than 16 of them. You also have to have all parts of the portrait lined up in the right spot. So over here, the top left 80 by 80 pixels is for the actual portrait part of the portrait. Below it here you have the mouth frames for the talking animation. Those are 16 pixels by 32 pixels, and there are, well, 7 of them. As you can see here, we've got the 2 different animations. And over here we have the blinking masks, which are 2 more images, again 16 by 32. And they are tucked away over here at this side of the image. And right above that, you have the chibi portrait, which is 32 pixels by 32 pixels, I believe. And again, these are all have to share the same 16 colors. So be very careful when you're designing your image. And as for the blinking masks and the talking masks, these will be placed on these will be overlaid over the portrait in order to give the illusion of it having, talking and blinking frames. And what governs that is, if we go down here and open up the Nightmare editor, the portrait editor, in this case for FE8, I loaded up Gilliam's portrait because that's where I inserted Suikun's portrait over that. And down here, the mouth X position, Y position, I X position, I Y position, these are what govern where the blinking and talking masks get overlaid over the portrait. And these numbers here show how many tiles away from the top left corner it's placed. Yes, tiles. And a tile is, I believe, 8 pixels by 8 pixels. So this jumps around in increments of 8 pixels, which means it's going to take some doing to manage to make it line up properly, and you may have to redesign your portrait and shift it around slightly to make the masks line up. The masks can't overlap each other either. So it took some doing to manage to get everything to line up correctly. And let's see, as for battle animations, let's just open up one of the frames from the battle animation here. Again, the battle animation has to be formatted just right. In this case, it's an image that is, let's see here, how big was that image? You know what, let's just go over here. In this case, the images are all 248 by 160. And this is for, not using piercing frames. If you're doing piercing frames, you have to do it a little bit differently. More on that later. Anyway, so again, ping images, this format, and I have it, and one good thing you can do, because again, you're locked to 16 colors. So one good thing you do is for the top right corner of the image, you can lay out your palette over here, and that will help FE Editor be able to know what your palette is when you're inserting it. Anyway, as for more on animations and custom animations and the like, oh yes, I suppose I should cover the script. And when you're doing a custom animation, you have a script so that the game knows how to read the animation and all of the frames together. And your script's going to end up looking for something like this. For more details on this stuff, look up Blazer's tutorial. Blazer has a tutorial that covers attack animations and a little bit on portraits, and it covers it pretty well. So yeah, his tutorial can definitely help you get a working battle animation going. So that's all for this, and hopefully this is somewhat helpful to you. And I I think I'll probably link Blazor's tutorial down in the description of the video.